Appreciation sale. Chad is coming up and we'll talk to folks, but if it's raining or if we get a lot of rain, we're not going to be able to come out here. So I'm Colby, and I'm a bit of an amateur in terms of tracking sheep compared to Chad Walker, but I'm going to talk to y'all about my experience with tracking. Chad has always told us feed hard and track hard, and we didn't fully realize what that meant, as simple of a saying as it is, until last year when we were able to see with our own two eyes the benefits. There is no better form of exercise than tracking, and especially if you have a good track dog like Ellie here. Ellie is wonderful. She's an aggressive track dog, which is mostly a pro. It can be a con. You have to be a little bit careful because she's obviously trained to make him want to go, and sometimes she uses her mouth, and we utilize this muzzle, which is a little bit beat up. Now, you can't use a hard muzzle on Ellie because she has the ability to get that off, but she does not have the ability to get this one off. But she still has the end of her mouth open, and so she will bite sometimes. But honestly, a little bit of bite isn't a terrible thing because it keeps the sheep on their toes and it keeps them running hard, and it gets the adrenaline pumping, and that's the real benefit of tracking versus any other form. You cannot the adrenaline and the that you get from tracking, I don't think there's another form of exercise that comes close. So in terms of feeding hard, when you wean a lamb, they're generally, I would say, probably consuming around 3 pounds of grain on a self-feeder. What's interesting is a lot of folks will feed 3-4 pounds throughout the summer, which is limit feeding. And we're not necessarily allowing them to meet their potential if we're limiting them that way. And so when you track, you can feed them 4 or 5 pounds of grain. You feed hard, you track hard, you can keep them lean. It is the best form of keeping fat off of a sheep. And of course, these wethers naturally get fatter as they get a little bit older. So Ellie responds to 2 commands. She responds to stand and weigh. And what we do is you generally start the lambs smaller. This is a yearling wether that's been tracked a little bit. He responds well enough for the sake of this video today. We don't have any young lambs that we're currently tracking. So like if you buy a lamb here at Heavy Hitters this weekend, you probably need to get them home and get them acclimated. Give them 2 to 3 weeks. Sit, Ellie, sit. You need to give them 2 to 3 weeks, and you need to get them on the track. You need to familiarize them with the track. Just run them on foot to begin with. Make sure you have a good dog that's familiar with your track. And then finally, put the lamb and the dog on the track. And generally, I like to give the lamb a half of a lap lead. And then I'll let after about a half lap, I'll let the dog get close to encourage the lamb to continue. And then I'll utilize my flag to slow the dog down, and I'll give the appropriate command to slow her down. And then I'll let the lamb get a half a lap ahead, and then I'll let her run on ahead. So Ellie is very, very, she likes to run. So we'll demonstrate some tracking here in a little bit. Weigh. Stand. Weigh. Stand. Weigh. Stand. Weigh. Weigh. You see she nipped him just a little bit to encourage him. Stand. Weigh. And you run them until the sheep's mouth, until they're propped up. Stand, stand. He's getting there. Getting close. Weigh. Stand. So as you can tell, I mean, it's not a perfect, tracking is not a perfect science. You run the things as hard and as fast as you can without anybody getting hurt, if at all possible, until their mouth's gaped open, they're frothing at the mouth. It's not a perfect science. There's going to be a little bit of trial and error. I do recommend the flag, and you need a narrow enough center portion of your track that you can go back and forth quickly and efficiently in order to make sure you. The track is 70 feet long on the straightaways. I think it's outside to outside is about 24 feet. Yeah, and the track itself is 4 foot wide, and we put up as much barriers as we could. We track every other day, and we start them young, and we get them going. We generally track them as individuals. If we have a hard time with one, then we might track them in a pair. So We'll have plenty of time for question and answers on Saturday before the sale.